Gold cap clicks, a quiet pistol sound in the master bath, twisting the bass until the wax rises, blazing a crimson path. I trace the Cupid's bow, steady hand despite the shaking heart, defining the edges of a mouth that's about to fall apart. You're still breathing heavy in the sheets we bought on sale, dreaming of a Tuesday where this marriage doesn't fail. But I'm at the vanity, focused on the contour line, making sure the damage looks intentional and fine. It's not to lure you back, it's not to lure you back, it's not to make you stay. It's war paint for the woman driving away. I want the last thing you see when you open your eyes to be the perfection you're about to compromise. No pale regret, just a shade of fatal red lipstick before goodbye, and nothing left unsaid. Do you remember this color? I wore it in Savannah back when promises were solid, not drifting like a banner. Now it sits heavy on my skin, a mask to hide the fear that if I look too natural, I might just shed a tear. The coffee maker gurgles, the sun hits the hardwood floor. Normalcy is the enemy, I'm fighting at the door. I blot the excess on a tissue, throw the proof inside the bin, preparing for the ending before the day begins. It's not to lure you back, it's not to make you stay. It's war paint for the woman driving away. I want the last thing you see when you open your eyes to be the perfection you're about to compromise. No pale regret, just a shade of fatal red lipstick before goodbye, and nothing left unsaid. I hear the rustle of the duvet, your feet hit the rug, a morning grumble, a stretch, expecting a hug. But I'm standing in the archway, fully dressed in black, with a face full of courage that isn't looking back. You blink twice, confusion clouding up the blue, realizing the stranger in the hallway is actually me and you. You ask me where I'm going with that fire on my lips. I just tighten my grip on the keys at my hips. They say the truth is naked, but I think the truth needs clothes. It needs a layer of protection against the hardest blows. If I walked out crying, you'd think there was a chance that we could salvage the rhythm of this broken dance. So I gloss over the sorrow, I highlight the resolve. There's no chemistry left here for us to solve. This isn't a discussion, it's a closing scene, the sharpest exit that this house has ever seen. The engine turns over, a vibration in my chest, leaving you the silence, leaving you the rest. Check the rearview mirror, not to see you stand there, but to check the smudges, to fix a stray hair. A perfect ghetto requires a perfect face, even as my world disappears without a trace. The tube is in my purse, so when survive the morning without breaking the vow. It wasn't to lure you back or beg you to stay, just war paint for the woman who drove away. The last thing you saw when you opened your eyes was the best of me cutting through the lies. No pale regret, just a memory of fate. Oh, red lipstick before goodbye, and everything is dead. Just the red. Before
my tires used to hum a lullaby that only meant goodbye. I collected area codes like pennies in a jar, spending them on human nights. Always thought the gold was hidden in the next town over, past the county line. But the map was just a paper cage, and I was running out of dotted lines. The dust never settled on my dashboard, 'cause I kept the engine hot, searching for a heartbeat in the parking lots I eventually forgot. So I drove a stake into the red clay mud and threw away the keys. I told the wind, you can blow right through, but you ain't moving me. I stopped looking for the harvest in a stranger's empty hand, and found out hearts don't fall from skies, they grow where I stand. Yeah, hearts grow where I stand. This porch was sagging like a heavy sigh when I signed the deed. The mailbox was choked with ivy, starving for a word or a seed. The silence here was loud enough to scream my demons away. First week I packed my bags 3 times, shaking with the ache to break. But I stared down the highway until the asphalt turned to gray. Unpacked the boxes, brewed the coffee, and chose the hard way to stay. I hammered down the loose boards, and I swallowed up the plea to run back to the neon ghost that never cared for me. I stopped waiting for a rescue from a wandering caravan, and learned that hearts don't drift and come, they grow where I stand. Oh, hearts grow where I stand. Winter hit the valley like a hammer on a frozen bell. I was lonely as a scarecrow, guarding nothing in a dry spell. The itch to leave was burning holes in the soles of my boots. But then the neighbor brought some firewood and asked about my roots. We talked until the coffee turned to cold sludge in the cup, and for the first time in a decade, I wasn't looking to pack up. It wasn't magic, it was weeding out the briars day by day. It wasn't lightning, it was water carried buckets from the bay. Now there's laughter in the kitchen crooked in the hall, and I know the names of every cricket singing in the wall. There's a man who hangs his hat here, and children running through the screen. The chaotic, messy beauty of a life I'd never seen. When I was chasing shadows, I was starving in the run. Now I'm full on bread and quiet, basking in the sun. 'Cause I kept a stake in the red clay mud and never found the keys. I let the wind blow the years away, and it never moved me. I stopped begging for a scrap of love from a shifting, drifting land, and watched the miracle unfold, how hearts grow where I stand. Yeah, the love I needed most, it grows right where I stand. Right where I stand. Not a mile down the road, just beneath my boots.
Roots going down, walls going up.
I'm staying put.
Hearts grow.
Watch it bloom. The neon buzzing above the exit sign is the loudest thing in this room. You're 3 rounds deep in a story about high school football I've heard since June. I watched you slide your credit across the sticky pine, and you didn't even look up when the bartender asked if I wanted wine. The air is thick with smoke and excuses you haven't made yet, but the posture of your shoulders tells me this is as good as it gets. I check my watch, then I check the door. I don't think I can wait for you to be ready anymore. So keep the keys to the truck, I've got a spare set in my purse. I'm not gonna sit in the passenger seat and watch this night get worse. You can close down the bar, you can blame it on the phone. Don't worry about me, baby, I'll drive myself home. There was a time I would have tugged your sleeve and begged you to slow down, made sure you drank some water, worried about how we look to this town. But the silence in my chest is heavier than the noise of the band, and I'm realizing I don't wanna be the one holding your hand. You're laughing at a joke that wasn't funny the first time around, while I'm mapping out the back roads just to avoid the downtown. Yeah, keep the keys to the truck, I've got that spare set in my purse. I'm done sitting in the passenger seat watching everything get worse. You can close down the bar, you can call looking for your phone. Don't worry about me, darling, I'll drive myself home. The gravel crunching under my boots sounds like a gavel coming down. The night air hits my face and wakes me up from this dusty crown. I see my reflection in the side mirror of your Chevrolet, but I'm walking past it to the sedan I bought with my own pay. I fish the metal from the bottom of my bag, cold against my skin. Unlock the door, slide behind the wheel, and finally breathe in. I remember the night we met.
safe to the door. Said chivalry wasn't dead, just sleeping on the floor. But 5 years of waiting for you to sober up or grow up or show up has turned into a highway line that I'm about to blow up. I'm adjusting the mirrors not to see where I've been, but to make sure you aren't stumbling out to try and get in. Just the high beams cutting the black. There's a freedom in the engine hum that isn't holding anything back. I turn the radio up, not to drown you out, but to hear the song. I realize I've been driving this relationship alone, all alone. The white lines are rhythmic, hypnotic and true, leading me back to the woman I was before I parked next to you. No more waiting by the jukebox for a signal to leave. No more wearing my patience thin on a denim sleeve. I'm shifting gears, I'm picking up speed. My own two hands are exactly what I need. The dashboard lights are the only stars I trust tonight. Everything in the rear view is fading out of sight. I didn't need your keys, I always had the power in my purse. I'm done riding shotgun while the universe goes in reverse. You can't stay in the dark, you can wander wildly alone. I've got a full tank of gas and I'll drive myself home. Yeah, I'm finally going home. Turn signal blinking left onto my street. The house is dark, the quiet is sweet. Engine off, keys in hand, just me in the silence where I stand. I drove myself home. I made it home. I'm stronger on Sundays. One day morning tastes like rust and unpaid bills. The alarm clock screams a warning, but the silence kills. I drag my shadow through the Tuesday door, leaving half my dignity on the hardwood floor. Wednesday's a mountain that I climb in worn out
By Thursday night, the armor starts to crack, and I'm staring at the phone, wishing I could take it back. But I'm stronger on Sundays. I don't know why. Maybe it's the starch in the collar, or the clear blue sky. I can hold back the river that threatens to break. I ever tremor and every mistake. 6 days of rain, let the storm wash away. 'Cause I'm made of stone on the Lord's holy day. Yeah, I'm stronger on Sunday. Friday brings a paycheck, it's already spent on a temporary healing for the heart you bent. Then comes the devil in the neon glow. Saturday night, I let the whiskey flow. I dial your number when the jukebox plays that song. I train my intuition for a feeling that feels wrong. I crumble like the ashes at the end of a cigarette, drowning in the memories I swore I would forget. That I'm stronger on Sundays when the sun cuts through. I paid on a smile that has nothing to do with you. I walk down the aisle with my head held high, while the ghost of the weekend whispers goodbye. 6 days of wreckage, 1 day of grace. I'll put on the mask and I'll take my place. Yeah, I'm stronger on Sundays. The choir sings a hymn about a sweet by and back, but I'm just fixing the makeup around my eye. This never asks me how I've been holding up. I pour a little truth in her coffee cup. A tenor worth he's fine, and the garden's deep. I just found a secret promise that I have to keep. She's the woman in the mirror who hates who she became. When the Saturday shadows were calling her name. I starts the dress. The porch light flickered out 3 weeks ago. I never changed the bulb, I just let the darkness grow. Right on that swing until the chains rusted through. Watching the gravel driveway, hoping to see dust kick up from you. The coffee in the pot turned into black sludge, and I became a fixture, a ghost afraid to budge. Counting cars that sounded like your engine, living in a suspended, silent suspension. 10 years of Tuesdays wondering where you went, paying with my youth, the currency I overspent. You said just a little longer, babe, I'm almost there. But almost hangs heavy in the humid summer air. I searched for a man who wasn't coming home. Turned this two-bedroom ranch into a hollow catacomb. The wallpaper peeled while I held my breath. A slow motion, patient kind of spiritual death. But the statue is stepping off the pedestal tonight. I'm trading the shadow for the high beam light. No more checking the phone, no more pacing the floor. I'm cutting the anchor, I'm unlocking the door. The silence is over, hear the highway roar. I'm not waiting, no, I'm not waiting anymore. I didn't leave a note stuck to the fridge with a magnet. Didn't wanna get caught in your emotional dragnet. Just took the keys and the cash from the jar. Threw a duffel of denim in the back of the car. The town looks smaller in the rearview mirror. The further I get, the vision gets clearer. The mailbox stands empty, a sentry with no guard. While I'm doing 85, pushing the engine hard. Yeah, the statue has crumbled off the pedestal tonight. I'm chasing the fading edge of the twilight. No more holding the space, no more keeping the score. I'm burning the calendar, I'm flooring the floor. The patience is finished, hear the highway roar. I'm not waiting, no, I'm not waiting anymore. Georgia faded into the black about an hour ago. Now it's just static on the radio and the dashboard glow. I passed a diner with a sign that said open all night. And for the first time in forever, that sounded right. I might drive to the ocean, I might drive to the snow. I might run out of gas where the wild things grow. It's terrifying, shaking, my hands on the wheel, but at least this vibe
passenger seat. You probably just realized that the house has no heat. You're walking through rooms that echo your name, confused why the pawn doesn't want to play the game. But I'm crossing a river that doesn't flow back. I'm the train that jumped off the circular track. Don't look for me at the window, don't look at the gate. You're 10 years early or a lifetime too late. The statue is shattered, she's taking flight. I'm blind in the darkness with high beam light. No more checking the lock, no more watching the door. I'm an engine running, I'm a lion's roar. The pause is deleted, I've settled the score. I'm not waiting, God, I'm not waiting anymore. Just driving, just moving. The wheels turn, the world turns. Not waiting. Just hold on, just going. Just going. It's been a while since I looked this glass in the eye. The hangers in the closet are tied up, holding up the gray. Those taupe sweaters that promised to keep me out of the way. I spent 3 years blending into the drywall of your living room, apologizing for my laughter, sweeping my opinions with a broom. You like me quiet, you like me folded small, a paper crane sitting on a shelf, afraid to fall. But I pulled her right out of a cardboard box today, shook off the dust and the mothballs and the decay. They said caution is a color that suits a girl like me, but I'm painting over the beige with a terrified degree of high chin, walking and speaking my mind for free. Yeah, I checked the reflection, and brave looks good on me. I remember the Tuesday you said my ambition was too loud, like a neon sign flickering in a library crowd. So I dimmed the bulb, I cut the wire, I played the part of a decorative shadow with a muted beating heart. I learned to walk without making the floorboards creak, saving all my thunder for a someday kind of week. But I pulled her right out of a cardboard box today, shook off the dust and the mothballs and the decay. They said caution is a color that suits a girl like me, but I'm painting over the beige with a terrifying degree of high chin, walking and speaking my mind for free. Yeah, I checked the reflection, and brave looks good on me. It's not costume if you never take it off, it's not pretending if you don't stop when they call. I bought a lipstick shade named Emergency Fire, and I'm walking the tightrope without a safety wire. Took the long way downtown Windows down on the interstate, the wind tangled my hair, and I didn't hesitate to fix it, let it serve as a flag in the breeze. I'm done with the polite, beg your pardon please. Stopped at the coffee shop where we used to hide, ordered the dark roast with nothing to sweeten inside. Saw your truck parked crooked by the hardware store. My hand stayed steady on the wheel, didn't look at the floor. Old me would've pulled the cap down over my eyes. New me checked the rear view with zero surprise. I'm not the ghost you remember haunting your hall. I'm the hurricane you were scared to install. 'Cause I pulled a ride out of a cardboard box today, burned up the dust and the mothballs and the decay. They said caution is a color that suits a girl like me, but I'm wearing the lightning for the whole town to see. High chin walking and speaking my mind for free. Damn right, look at me, brave looks good on me. It fits like a glove, it fits like the truth. No more beige, no more folding, just this, just brave. I know what I deserve. The thermostat is set to 72, but I'm shivering in a wool sweater. The crack in the ceiling we promised to patch is celebrating its 5th birthday. I watched you walk past me in the kitchen like I was a piece of furniture you stopped liking, and just a fixture in the corner that holds the dust and the silence. While the coffee pot hisses at the awkward tension filling up the room. I stopped asking for the moon when you wouldn't even give me the morning. I traded diamonds for gravel and called it a solid foundation. But the math doesn't add up in this ledger of love and loss. And for the first time, the price is higher than it cost. I think I'm waking up to what I truly deserve. Do you remember the barbecue in July when you laughed at my ambition? Told your friends I was dreaming too big for a town this small. I swallowed that insult with a sip of iced tea and a painted-on smile. Buried my pride under the napkin so I wouldn't call the scene. But that seed of doubt you planted grew into a forest of resentment. I stopped asking for a sign when you kept me standing in the shade. I accepted
sight. There were no thrown plates or slammed doors. Just a Tuesday evening where you forgot to ask how my mother was doing after surgery. The small omissions, the sledgehammer that broke the camel's back. I looked at the back of your head while you watched the game and realized I was alone in a room, girls for two. Swallowing 10 years of clothes and leaving the photo albums. You can keep the memories of who we pretended to be. The dog is coming with me. He's the only one who listened anyway. I'm not writing a note. I'm not leaving a frozen casserole. Refrigerator light can shine on an empty shelf tonight. The gravel in the driveway is gonna crunch like a liberation march. I check the gas tank, it's full enough to get me across the state line. I'm not scared of a highway, I'm scared of who I became staying here. A rearview mirror's just a piece of glass, not a crystal ball. And I'm not looking back to see if you're watching from the porch. No more settling for silver when I'm on the thought. No more shrinking to fit inside the story you told. I am what fell. You try to keep it a joy on the destination, not just the car. I'm claiming the oxygen, I'm claiming the space. I'm wiping the apology right off of my face. I'm demanding legality because the sky isn't enough anymore. I'm walking through the fire and I'm kicking down the door. The debt is paid in full and I'm keeping the tanks riding out of this canyon onto the open range. Because baby, I know what I deserve. Yeah, the open range. My father taught me how to read a map before I could read a book. He said the horizon is the only promise that doesn't need a second look. So I kept my lease agreement short. 6 months was a stretch, living out of cardboard boxes, waiting for the concert. consequence to catch. I treated zip codes like they were disposable lighters. Used them up until the spark was gone, and tossed them in the fire. Leaving is easy, it's just gravity and gas. Watching the rearview mirror turn the present into past. But planting a seed where the soil is hard as stone takes a different kind of muscle than I had ever known. I knew how to fly, how to drift, how to sway, but God help me, it took 30 years to learn to stay. Then you walked in with boots that had mud from the same yard for a decade. You didn't ask me for a key, you didn't ask to be repaid. I waited for the judgment, for the moment you'd want more, but you just made coffee in the morning and fixed the hinge on the back door. Terrified me, the quiet way you occupy the space, like you weren't afraid of the shadows moving across my face. Leaving is easy, it's a reflex, it's a ghost, running from the very things that matter the most. But watching a winter turn to spring in the same window pane takes a different kind of courage than standing in the rain. I knew fade into the grave, but God help me, I'm finally learning how to stay. We shouted, I had my hand upon the latch. I felt that old vibration, the urge to strike the match. The truck was in the driveway, the highway hummed a song. It whispered, come on darling, you've been sitting here too long. But I looked at how your knuckles turned white against the chair, and realized if I walked out now, I'd take the silence everywhere. It's not about the chain, it's standing in the center of the hurricane and deciding that the wreckage is worth the repair. It's breathing through the panic when there's no more air. I took my jacket off and hung it on the rack for the first time in my life. I didn't look back. The oak tree in the garden is taller than the shed, and the gray is slowly weaving through the hair upon your head. We have scars we didn't hide and debts we had to pay, but I know the name of every neighbor and the trash collection day. It sounds so simple to a stranger passing through, but staying put was the wildest thing I ever chose to do. Leaving was easy, but it left me hollowed out, a perpetual stranger in a world full of doubt. But holding your hand
kitchen counter white, not a speck of dust in the morning light. My coffee cup sits on a coaster made of slate. I don't do maybe, and I don't participate in fate. Every conversation I have is a fenced-in yard. I keep the vowels clipped and the consonants hard. People say I'm poised like a statue in a park, but statues don't have to fear the dark. Soft heart, sharp lines, I draw the border with a heavy hand simply to survive. If I give you an inch, the dam might break, so I offer a silhouette that you can't take. A velvet interior in a cage of designs, living with a soft heart and sharp lines. You walked in with muddy boots and a laugh that didn't fit the grid. I tried to categorize you like I always did. Sent a cutting remark aimed at your pride, expecting you to retreat, to run and hide. But you just leaned against the door frame, ignoring the chill, asking if my perfect schedule had any time to kill. My razor wire wit didn't leave a scratch. You were the kerosene looking for a match. Soft heart, sharp lines, I draw the border with a heavy hand simply to survive. If I give you an inch, the dam might break, so I offer a silhouette that you can't take. A velvet interior in a cage of designs, living with a soft heart and sharp lines. 3 years later, the coaster is cracked on the floor. I don't check the locks 3 times on the door anymore. It was a slow erosion, not a sudden attack. You painted color over my monochromatic black. I remember weeping over a burnt piece of toast. That was the day the ghost gave up the ghost. You saw the panic rising in my chest and told me that the mess is where we rest. It's terrifying to be shapeless, like water in a hand, to erase the latitude and longitude of the land. I spent a lifetime sharpening the blade, protecting the tender parts that God made. But the armor is heavy and the metal is cold, and I'm too young to feel this old. So take the eraser, smudge the ink, let's pull the structure back from the brink. Are blurred. I said I love you and meant every single word. No sarcasm to hide behind, no witty defense, just the raw exposure of the present tense. We built a home that doesn't look like a chart. It looks like the inside of a beating heart. The precision is gone, the angles are wrong, but this is exactly where I belong. Soft heart, blurred lines, I dropped the pencil and I think I'm doing fine. I gave you an inch and you took the whole mile, and traded my blueprint for an honest smile. No more cages, no more designs, just a soft heart. No more lines, no more lines.
watch the shadows lengthen on the hardwood floor, like distinct fingers reaching for the bedroom door. 6 p.m. is the hour when the silence gets too loud and the walls start closing in like a thundercloud. I check the deadbolt twice, just a nervous twitch, trying to ignore the emptiness in this structural glitch. But I know the rotation hasn't failed me yet. The darkness is a debt I don't have to forget. I just have to hold my breath while the stars behave, because the night makes me tremble, but the sunrise makes me brave. 11:30 and the refrigerator hums a low tune, fighting with the pale judgment of a half-lit moon. Your boots aren't in the hallway to trip over anymore, just a ghost of a muddy footprint by the pantry door. I brew a pot of coffee that I don't intend to drink, just to smell the morning coming while I stand at the sink. Yeah, the world spins slow when you're waiting on a bed. The darkness is a fever that hasn't broken yet. I'm counting down the seconds that the shadows say, 'cause the night makes me tremble, but the sunrise makes me brave. 3 a.m. is the bottom of the deep blue well, where the memories buy and trade and hearts sell. I remember how you said I couldn't stand on my own, that without your gravity I'd just be floating stone. The ceiling fan cuts the air into slices of regret, but I haven't closed my eyes, I haven't yielded yet. Now the black is turning purple on the eastern line, a bruised sort of glory that is finally mine. The mockingbird is waking up to sing the truth. I survived the haunting without the help of you, or whiskey, or a phone call, or a desperate plea, just the inevitable physics of you and me. Temperature shift that never gets old. My knuckles are white, but my heart is slowing down. The monsters are retreating back underground. I unlock the front door and step onto the wood, breathing in the light like I knew I could. Sunrise makes me brave.
plastic menu stuck against the tabletop. You asked me if the winter rain would ever stop. I stirred the sugar packet till the crystals disappeared, acting like the air between us was completely cleared. We talked about the highway work on Interstate 40, and how my brother's kids are getting tall and sporty. I kept my hands folded, kept my posture aligned. Just a casual friend you left so far behind. I told you that the transmission runs real smooth. I told you that I finally made the move to that brick duplex on the south side of the town. But the truth was screaming loud enough to drown every politeness, every casual display. Oh, the heavy wreckage of what I didn't say. You checked your watch, the silver caught the neon light. You mentioned you were driving back home late tonight. I didn't ask who's waiting up to turn the key. I didn't ask if she looks anything like me. I just took a sip of coffee that had gone stone cold, and listened to the simple story that you told about a promotion and a brand new coat of paint. Well, I practiced the patience of a dying saint. I said I'm learning pottery and sleeping well. Said I couldn't really even tell that it's been 3 years since you walked away. But the truth was screaming loud enough to drown every polite nod, every casual display. Oh, the heavy wreckage of what I didn't say. And you laughed, that jagged sideways kind of sound that used to spin my heavy axis all around. For a second, the diner walls began to bend. I wasn't sitting with a stranger or a friend. I was back in the hallway with the boxes taped, watching how the future that we planned escaped. But I blinked it back, I didn't let the damn wall break. I just nodded at the waitress for the check she'd take. I didn't say I burn your letters once a week. I didn't say my knees get buckled and weak when a Ford truck turns the corner on my street. I didn't say I hate how happy you look, like you just closed a chapter in a paperback book, while I'm still rereading pages till the paper tears. I didn't say it isn't fair that you got the closure, the grace and the new start, and I got the shrapnel buried in a beating heart. I wanted to flip this table, wanted to scream that you don't get to walk through my life like a dream. But I sat there frozen, I sat there nice, paying for my silence at the highest price. The bill is paid, we're standing by the glass front door. Neither of us knowing what we're waiting for. You go for the hug, polite and brief and dry. I hold my breath so I don't start to cry. You tell me it was good to see me doing fine. I watch you walk away across the parking line.
didn't tell you I still love you, you damn fool. I didn't break a single unwritten rule. I watched your taillights fading south of town and finally let the wall come crumbling down. Every polite nod, every casual display crushed beneath the weight of what I didn't say. What I didn't say. Just the rain on the pavement and the engine turning over. And I never said, I never said a word. The bell above the diner door just announced my name to 12 pairs of eyes looking for a crying shame. I see Mary leaning over the counter, pot in hand, waiting for the wreckage to spill out across the land. They see the dust on my boots, but they miss the gold in the track, spinning tragedies and heartbreaks inside of their own heads. I ordered the black coffee and I took the corner seat, while the silence in the room felt thick enough to eat. They want a jagged story, a reason why I'm back, a confession of a failure or a life that's gone off track. They're leaning in like vultures, waiting for the kill, but my cup is full of sunshine and my heart is standing still. Oh, you can stare until the sun goes down and burns the county line, but you won't find a tear to salt this glass of wine. I've got a smile that I earn on a road you'll never drive, and a peace that keeps the fire in my spirit alive. Keep your questions in your pocket, save your breath for praying. I'm happy where I'm standing and I'm fine without explaining. I can hear the whispers weaving through the clatter of the plates. Is she divorced? Is she broke? Did she tempt the hands of fate? Oh man, Miller thinks I'm running from a debt I couldn't pay, and Sarah bets her paycheck that I'm only here a day. It's funny how a woman walking tall without a ring is a puzzle piece that's missing, or a bird with broken wings. They can't imagine freedom without a heavy cost, assuming if I'm silent then I must be completely lost. So you can stare until the sun goes down and burns the county line, but you won't find a tear to salt this glass of wine. I've got a smile that I earned on a road you'll never drive, and a peace that keeps the fire in my spirit alive. Keep your questions in your pocket, save your breath for praying. I'm happy where I'm standing and I'm fine without explaining.
without asking for permission. Turn my solitude into a holy kind of mission. But if I told you about the sunsets or the lover in the west, you'd pick it all apart just to put it to the test. So I'll keep the magic hidden in the pocket of my jeans, 'cause some truths are too expensive for these small town scenes. Yeah, stare until the moon comes up and freezes up the pine. You still won't find a shadow in this simple life of mine. I've got a secret garden that doesn't need your rain, and a joy that flows like rivers through the dry and dusty plain. Keep your rumors for the Sunday choir, keep your judgment swaying. I'm whole without your validation, fine without explaining. Why is mystery a villain in a town that claims to care? Why is happiness suspicious if you aren't willing to share? I don't know you a biography, I don't know you a line. The architecture of my soul is a private design. I could tell you everything, every win and every sin, but the door is locked from the outside and I ain't letting you in. No, I ain't letting you in. Table and I tip my hat to Earl. He's the only one who didn't try to figure out this girl. The engine of my truck purrs like a lion in a cage as I turn the key and finally turn the page. Watch me in the rear view, dust rising in the air, a ghost you couldn't capture, a soul you couldn't scare. Yeah, watch me while the sun goes down and burns the county line. There ain't a single tear to salt this victory wine. I've got a smile that I earned on a road you'll never drive, and a peace that keeps the fire in my spirit alive. Keep your questions in your pocket, save your breath for praying. I'm happy where I'm standing and I'm fine without explaining. Yeah, I'm fine without explaining. Not a word, not a single word, just the hum of the tires. I'm fine.